All right, hello everyone. Let's get this party started. Feels like it's been a minute since I did one of these. If you've been following along, we've been doing some dark tower defense building here in GDevelop, and lately I've been focusing on building a bunch of towers for the game. And if I go into my scene here, during the last live stream, I focused on a black hole tower, which kind of sucks in the enemies and damages them over time. And that went pretty well. So I select my button over here, and now I've got a little black hole right there. And if the enemies walk within range of that, they're going to get absorbed in and trapped. They probably need to hit this spot right here. There it goes. Now it's been sucked in and damaged. So that is where we stand, and it's been pretty successful. And tonight's going to be pretty chill, probably pretty short, but I wanted to do something. And I think what I wanted to do is start off by adding a few particle effects around that black hole. And I'm not sure that I want to use a built-in particles emitter, so I'm going to actually do some pixel art here pretty quickly and see what it looks like. Not sure how well it's going to look. I'm just going to give it a shot. But I've got a couple of frames here already. And yeah, basically just it's going to suck in light particles from the surrounding area. So let's start some pixels. Yeah, it's only Tuesday and it already feels like it's been a long week. Hope everyone else's week is going well. Hang in there. Let me know in the comments if any of you do pixel art on a regular basis. Do you use pixelart.com or Sprite, or what editing tools do you like to use for your pixel art? I like to do the I like to visit pixelart.com sometimes, and I'll show you. They have these daily challenges. So if I go to the homepage, well, I am on the homepage. There's a drawing challenge. So if I view the entries, today's challenge is a boat dock. And you can see all the entries here for the boat dock right here. So some people draw some really impressive pixel art. I assume that they draw it. There's always a possibility they just submit, you know, I don't know, AI art or something. You can also, I mean, these days you can even take an actual photograph and pixelize it. But most of these seem pretty legit and really impressive. And I can't really compete with them at all. But sometimes I like to submit an entry anyway. Yeah, some of these are definitely doable. And then others do a good job of really capturing sort of the emotion or the vibe, like this one here. You know, it looks like scribbles, but it's such a nice cohesive image. I like that. So anyways, pixelart.com is pretty good. Yep, so I'm just going to draw some pixels, act like they're moving toward the center here. And then I'm going to put it on a loop and call it good. So hopefully these will add a nice little touch to the black hole effect, act like they're absorbing some of the ambient light, that sort of thing. Just saw this on the news as well. My friend showed me, but apparently there was some sort of hydrothermal explosion at Yellowstone. And all I can say is if it's the apocalypse, I hope it happens before work tomorrow so that I don't have to go to work. Otherwise, leave me alone, right? Otherwise, we don't need an apocalypse. Okay, and then erase some things. Something like this. So once I get done with this pixel art, and if hopefully it looks all right, then I think I'm kind of debating between whether I want to keep working on a tower tonight or maybe do like another level background. I'm feeling slightly less techie tonight and a little more easygoing. So I will see. I'm just going to go with the flow. I think I need to move this down. There we go. It's kind of the good thing about being an indie dev, a solo dev, is you have to wear, it's a good thing and a bad thing. You have to wear so many different hats that you're responsible for everything in the game, whether or not it's your expertise. But if you ever get kind of burnt out on a particular aspect, like the coding or the art or the music or the marketing, you can always switch gears and jump to another task because they all need attention always. So because of that, it never actually gets boring. You're always busy with something, and there's usually something new you can do to change it up. And personally, I enjoy it all pretty equally. I really enjoy the challenge of programming and doing the logic. It's tough, but solving the problems is pretty rewarding. But then it's always really chill to just kick back, have a drink, make some art, and play around. And, just make some things. Kind of let loose. So yeah, I enjoy it all. I'm really starting to consider how I want the final product to look, because I'm getting to the point where pretty soon I'll need to finalize some of the artistic elements. And I had originally gone from I guess I'll save my progress here. I had originally gone from I was thinking more of like an old school, sort of a 90s, maybe almost like a Baldur's Gate 1 or worse kind of graphics. And I'll show you what I mean, because I started this game as like it was a game jam project, a game jam submission. And here are the art assets. Let me see if it works. Yeah. So here are the art assets I selected. These are not my own. They were just free assets available on itch. And I thought it was kind of a neat sort of kind of a throwback look. But the problem I have with it is things that are not modifiable, such as these pretty neat looking trees have shadows that are fixed. So the shadow is always going to a particular direction. But then if I add something else like this castle here, that shadow is built into the sprite and it's going a different direction. And so while the elements I'm adding to my game now they don't necessarily have their own lighting and shading. They don't have built-in shadows, which means it's more flexible. So going from that sort of a look to more of a 2D sprite of 3D graphics, if that makes any sense. So more like stuff you could make in Blender if you wanted. So it's a little more of a modern look, and I'm thinking I'm going to stick with that because while I'm not a 3D artist or engineer per se, I think I'm stronger at that than I am at sort of the fine arts, if that makes any sense. Gotta play to my strengths. All right, I'm going to drag the top one down and try to find a way to loop into it. So I need to go from this to this in a couple of frames. So go ahead and duplicate that one. Oops, I think I... No, that's good. All right. So that one needs to be closer to this one. So let me add one here. Oh man, I need the pencil selected. Go to this one, move backwards, change the frame, click. That one, go backwards here. This one right here is being a little awkward because I have that in frame 1, which carries over to frame 2, but right before it I have a pixel almost in the same place. It kind of accidentally works, actually. Maybe it's perfect. Yeah, maybe it's not a problem. It's too good. So again, once I get done with this, I'll be able to add these particles behind a black hole in the scene, which should help to look like it's absorbing a little bit of the ambient light around it. I'm just going to give it a shot instead of using a built-in particles emitter. Hopefully it looks good. Get rid of those. I have a new video I'm working on right now as well. It's in the editor. Should be releasing it by this upcoming weekend. So hopefully it is useful for you all. The reason I keep going back and forth between these frames is I'm looking for the movement of the pixels and making sure that I move each one and don't leave any out, and don't move the same one twice. I have to do that sometimes. So I think I can remove the bottom one. Over here on the preview, it's looking a little choppy. Not sure specifically where. But I feel like it's the top left dot. It is. Let me see why. So I've got this one. It goes inward. I don't know. Let me just save the progress here. I guess I can remove the red dot from the center. And I'll save and apply. Actually, let me edit the points. I want this to spawn centered. 45, apply. And let me actually go back to that, click on loop, preview. So something like that. I could even slow it down. That's pretty bad. Speed it back up. Hard to say where the sweet spot is here on the frame rate, but try something like 0.08, which I think is actually the default, so that was not necessarily needed. I'll rename it black hole particles. And for this, I want to look at all these scenes I have open. Let's close all these. What in the world? Okay. Let's go into the preview. Oh, well, it would probably help if I added it to the code. So let's go down to where the black hole spawns. Let me see. Let me see. That spawns. Oh, I just saw something. That reminded me. I wanted to add a particle for when the arcane bolt hits an enemy. That should be pretty quick and easy, I hope. And add a little bit of polish to that effect. Okay, right here. I don't know why you couldn't find it. So this would be under the gray button. So that changes the animation of the tower to this sort of moon tower. And then down here, this is where the black hole is created. So where the black hole is created, we will also create the particles. And I better stick the particles to the black hole with a behavior. And destroy when the object it's on is destroyed. So select the particles, stick to the black hole. And let's give this a test. Hopefully it's even large enough to actually see. Okay, and it's spawning directly above it, so not what I'm wanting. Let's just put these directly at the black hole itself. What I was doing before was spawning the black hole at the tower base center, X and Y. But I want this to just be directly centered on the black hole itself. Black hole dot center Y. All right, let's test and see how that looks. Okay, it's at the correct location. And I'm thinking maybe put it one layer behind on the z-axis. So let's see. Let me actually open the debugger, Mr. Debugger, and see which layer. Sorry. Let me see which layer the black hole is spawning. So refresh my inspector on the left here, go down to the black hole. The Z order is 194 currently. The particle is 150. So let's flip those around. We'll say set the black hole particles to 149 and vice versa. So let's do black hole. Z order 150. Hopefully I didn't get that backed up or backwards. Probably did. 149 and test that real quick. Oops, don't really care about the enemies. Okay, well that's now behind the tower itself, so that's not useful. All right, let me think here. So, do I then want to change the Z order of the tower base itself? What is the Z order of the tower base? Let's check. Tower base, Z order 194. So with the smaller Z order in front, I probably do want to flip these around. We'll do black hole at 149, particles at 150. And then the tower base. Excuse me. Let's try 151. Does not seem to like that. So tower is 151. Black hole is 149 and particles are at 150. Did I get them completely backwards? It's very possible. What if I flip them all around? Not totally sure. I thought I got it right. I swear I did. Okay, so we're back where we started. Let's just flip the black hole and the particles and leave the tower where it is. Okay, that's a little more like it. So a couple of things I could do to make it maybe look better or worse is change the scale of the particles. Let's try 1 1/4. See what kind of nonsense this gives us. I mean, it's barely noticeable. Let's go bigger. Let's just double it. Yeah, I mean, it did the trick. I think it's fine. I'll have to think about what I want to do. I could add some various effects to that. I could rotate it. I could change the color. I could add a tween. I could add better art altogether. But I think for now it kind of gets the idea across. So I'm going to leave it and I'm going to move forward. Let's go down to the arcane bolts. Wherever I put those. Right here, I think this is it. Let me see. Oh, no, not. Well, I mean, sort of. Yeah, I guess this is the event line I would use. So let me create a little particle explosion. Could very well start with, say, this blue explosion. And now I think this one's going to be too big. And I think I would want it to be more like starting at particle size 100 and dropping down quite a bit. Let's give this particle maximum lifetime of, say, 0.6 and a minimum of 0.2. And let's give this a test. I'll just drop one out into the scene here. So I think it had too many particles. Let me drop the particles in half. Let's test that. Yeah, it's pretty quick, but now let's rename it to arcane arcane hit particles. Actually, I think it would be particles underscore arcane hit. Apply. Something like that. I do need to come back in here and correct my naming convention, make it cleaner. Add this into the event here. I'm going to have that. I'm going to see how it looks creating it at the center location of the arcane shot. But I might change that to happen on the center of the enemy. Let's see how this goes. So let's put our tower out here. Select arcane. I haven't touched this since I actually implemented it. Hopefully it's working all right. Looks like it's got a problem. What are these? I've got a shape painter, but this looks like a particle. Oh, particle arcane shot. You know, I might have already created one of these, and the reason we're seeing it is because I didn't tell it to delete when it runs out of particles. I don't even know what I've done. Yeah, I did create one. Look at this. So that has -1 in the tank, which is infinite. So what if I set that to 50? What does this look like? Now I've got 2 to choose from, so love it when that happens. Let's test. I'm going to add a sub event here and drag this creation down and disable it for the moment. And then let me look for arcane shot. Oh, that is the arcane shot. Okay, here we go. I know what's happening now. It's been a long day, sorry. Drag that back up and let's just test it as is. So it is functioning as I told it to, but I'm thinking it might look best to have it actually spawn at the center of the enemy because it looks like it's not even hitting the enemy. So let's see if I can get that put in real quick. So instead of at the arcane bullet, it'll be at the enemy center. All right, let's test that. Got to get this arcane tower up and going. Yeah, so it's probably closer to what we're looking for. It's actually happening at the center of the enemy. Looks a little more like it's making contact now. So now that I accidentally created two different particle effects, I need to pick one. So let's swap out. There's that version, which is pretty puffy and cloudy. Or we could do this other one, which I just made. And here we go. So a little more, almost more fireworky rather than cloudy. So let me reverse the size of the particles here. Okay, so this is for the first one. It was looking a little cloudy. So instead of growing the particles as they exist, let me reduce the maximum lifetime to 0.6. And then I've also I've swapped the particle start size from 10 to 20. Let's see. Hold on. Arcane shot. Definitely still too many in that tank. Let's drop that. Let's drop that down again. Should take a quarter of a second now. We're doing 20 particles at 80 particles per second. Something about it. So it seems too soft. What if I drop them in size again? And maybe even reduce the number of particles again. Something about it just doesn't feel quite tangible. That seems a little bit better. I'm going to change the variety of emitter force as well. Again, just playing with the numbers here, going by feel. I'm starting to lean toward using this other one. So let me change the colors here. And let's do let's try more of an instant burst. Let's do a really high flow of particles, but still only have, say, let's say 20 in the tank, with an emitter force of anywhere from 10 to 80. Let's give this a shot. It should look pretty different now. It would look different if I told it to use those. So let's do arcane, hit, and test. All right, here we go. It killed him too fast. Okay, I'm thinking I like it, but I need to make it bigger. And test. So moving right along, after this particle, I think I'm going to move on to, well, that might actually be it for tonight. Really pretty short night. Yeah, something more like that, but it's really hard to see. Maybe the end opacity shouldn't be 0. We could try like 15. See how this goes. Maybe even more opaque. Sometimes I get these right on the money quickly, and other times I have to fiddle around with it for a while. All right, I think I know. So I don't want them to be quite as big as they are getting. I would say more like, say 32. But even more opacity. Last time. Here we go. Okay. I'll definitely need to add some more, a little more sauce on this black hole effect. But we're going to give it the stamp to move forward. So I think it's been just about an hour now. Short night, but I'm going to call it there. So far tonight it's been successful. We added some particles manually as a sprite to the black hole effect. And then we added the arcane shot collision particle. And those are just, adding little by little, adding on top of the game and putting some polish in there as we move forward. So pretty successful. I've got a tutorial video coming out pretty soon. It's going to be about 10 pillars that every game dev should know about. And it's going to be a hands-on exercise. So look for that video. And if you watched this session, I definitely appreciate your time. Always appreciate it. And until next time, I hope you have fewer bugs than I do. Have a good one.